Hey, what's up, bubs? Welcome to the basic concept. In today's topic, we'll talk about investing, how to have an investing mindset, and some guidelines to go along with that. Support the channel by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with at least one friend. Stay tuned at the end of the video for free stocks or click on the affiliate links below. Alright, let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to share is that mindset matters. In the words of Warren Buffett, until you can manage your mind, do not expect to manage your money. What does this even mean though, managing your mindset? Well, it means you need to train your mind to have a winning attitude. For example, instead of saying, I can't afford it, ask instead, how can I afford this? And you'll notice that instead of excuses, your mind will start coming up with solutions on how you may be able to. You do have to be realistic though. You cannot afford $1 million mansion on a $40,000 salary. But when you ask yourself how, you will find a way by making some extreme lifestyle changes and getting disciplined, learning and changing something that changes your income and net worth. We as humans are faced with countless hurdles and roadblocks every day throughout our lives. But you must understand and appreciate the fact that not only are they small hurdles, but each mistake or hurdle is an opportunity in disguise, trying to teach you something. And as long as you don't give up, you can learn from that opportunity. Take a look at a successful business and then look at their history. You will see the countless roadblocks they encountered, but through perseverance became successful. Success depends on failure. It doesn't have to be your failure though. We can learn from each other on what works and what doesn't. The whole scientific community works with this mindset, and see how far it's taken us from the Stone Age to now. So what are some rules to get into the right mindset? Well, there aren't really any rules, more like guidelines that work for most people. Everyone is different, and with these basics, you should be able to forge your own path to success. Number one, there is no get-rich-quick schemes, no shortcuts to wealth, and no shortcuts to success. Everything takes time. And honestly, if you did get rich quick somehow, you will not appreciate or value it and lose it soon after anyways. If you don't believe me, take a look at most of the lottery winners and how they go bankrupt within years of winning millions of dollars. It has to do with something called lifestyle inflation or an effect similar to that. I have talked about this topic in my budgeting video. I will link that in the description below if you want to check it out. In short, lifestyle inflation is when your expenses increase due to your salary increasing, which means that if you suddenly ran into a huge sum of money, most likely your spending habits will change dramatically, and that money will soon not seem enough, or worse, you'll run out. If someone does tell you they have a way for you to get rich quick, it's either extremely risky, and you must understand that the investment you make has an extremely high chance of being lost, or two, it's illegal. Take the Ponzi scheme done by Bernie Madoff, for example. The first group of investors who cashed out early became rich, only to be forced by a judge later on to return that money to the people who lost their fortunes and life savings in the same scheme. Don't get discouraged by it or misunderstand this and confuse it with luck. There are plenty of ways to get lucky. You can land into $1 million or even $1 billion idea, but you still need to put in some work and get that in front of people or sell it. Or if you do win the lottery, just make sure you invest at least half, if not more, of that into a cash flow business, so even if you do run out of the rest of the money, you still have income coming in. Guideline number 2, invest in yourself. Now, unlike most things in life, this one isn't monetary. It doesn't need any money. It's completely free. It does, however, require another resource, your time. Don't take this the wrong way, but your time is money, and it's also your most valuable asset, and you should cherish it. It's one of the only things in life you cannot make or buy back. To understand this, you need to realize that you're already trading hours for money if you're working a normal day job. However, those hours are not renewable. For example, if you spend 8 hours a day working, after the 8 hours, you are no longer making any money from that company. But the company that you work for continues to profit off of your work. Now, if you spend 8 hours learning a new skill and use it to create another source of income, That 8 hours will pay a lot more in the long run. These skills could be anything like trading stocks, flipping real estate, designing websites. Preferably, this is a hobby you enjoy doing, so it does not seem like work. Otherwise, you will be exhausted and burn out very soon. You can also look at some of your idols and great businessmen or women to get inspiration because remember, what one man can do, another can do. Number 3, not to quit your day job. You should have multiple streams of revenue coming in. Think about your favorite businessman. For me, that's Elon Musk. Brilliant engineer who created PayPal, used that money to create SpaceX, Tesla, and the Boring Company. Multiple streams of income and an avenue out for his creativity and the problem-solving mentality. Similarly, if you have a day job, that is your steady stream of income. Use that income to create additional sources of income instead of getting rid of your only source. Once again, don't get this wrong. If you have a surefire idea that for a fact will be successful, not one that you hope and wish to be successful, but factfully it will be successful through proven record. And this business idea requires your full attention, that's different. But even in that case, you should have your emergency fund of 3 to 6 months worth in case it doesn't work out. Kind of like hoping for the best, but planning for the worst. Warren Buffett said this best in my opinion. He said, never test the depth of a river with both feet. Alright, guideline number 4. Don't follow advice blindly. You have to understand that everyone has an agenda, and that agenda or beliefs or goals cannot and does not mirror yours. It's very hard, almost impossible, that you will find somebody that thinks exactly like you do or has similar goals. For that reason, you have to understand the basics for their advice. If you don't, you can ask them. Most people are pretty vocal about their goals and desires and will not mind sharing why they do or believe in something. For example, debt is a very complicated topic. If you find 10 people against it, you'll find another 10 for it. Debt is a tool, like a hammer. A hammer in the right person's hand can build a house, but in the wrong person's hand can also destroy it. There is good debt and bad debt. If someone only sees the bad debt, they will never use the good side. Similarly, someone who only sees the good will never realize that someone who has not fully grasped the concept of debt can get in a lot of trouble and create a debt crisis. A debt that can create more income for you is a good debt. For example, let's say that after high school you find a job that gives you $40,000 a year. You look into a trade school and take out a $30,000 loan, and that ends up landing you a $150,000 a year job. That's a good debt, since you should be able to pay off your loan by the end of the first year easily, all while building a better future for yourself. Let's compare that to taking out a $60,000 loan for a field that pays a max of $80,000 a year. And that is an example of bad debt, since that's double your annual salary at best case, meaning the loan will surely accumulate interest over time and end up being way more than $60,000. Let me give you another example. Credit card debt. This one can get extremely high and exceed 30% APR. But let's say that you're using your credit card to buy in-demand shoes that you can resell for 3 to 5 times your purchase price. And you pay off the credit card with that and keep the profit. That's good debt since you shouldn't be paying any interest on that purchase and you're creating income from nothing. One more great example is Dave Ramsey. He is against debt for religious and his own personal beliefs. While there's nothing wrong with his philosophy and ideology, there is, however, a great investment strategy in the real estate market that is very well known and widely used for making profits. It's called BRRRR. I always forget how many R's are supposed to be in that. I have to remind myself what it stands for, which is buy, rehab or repair, rent, refinance, and repeat. Mostly you're doing this with borrowed money, so you're in debt, but it's a cash flow business, meaning you're generating income with debt. Hopefully that makes sense on why you shouldn't follow somebody's advice blindly. Guideline number 5. Invest as early as possible and as much as you can. This one is a fairly easy concept to grasp if you are familiar with compound interest. I have a video explaining compound interest on my channel. I will link it in the description below if you want to check it out. Aside from letting money accrue interest over time, if you start investing early, it also gives you a chance to make mistakes and take risk since you have enough time to recover if something doesn't go as planned. Guideline number 6. Understand risk and calculate it appropriately. Let me explain. For example, your savings account generally costing you 2% annually due to inflation. But should you invest that money and then be left out without an emergency fund? How risky you can be is based on your age. Younger people can take a little more risk since you have more time to recover from a downturn. Older people, however, need to move to less risky investments like bonds, etc. But lower risk also comes with lower rewards. Also, don't risk money you may need right away. For example, your emergency fund. If you invested that in stocks, for example, typically it takes about 3 days after you sell the stock for the funds to settle. Especially if it's a bad time to sell, it will cost you so much more. Guideline number 7. Diversify your portfolio. Now, diversification has different meanings to different people. For example, Warren Buffett says, diversification is protection against ignorance. It makes little sense if you know what you're doing. In his mindset, if you invested in a market index fund, you will have gains from companies doing really well, but they will be offset by companies that are performing poorly. Since he is on a completely different level of understanding when it comes to finance and business, picking the winners is easy for him. So unless you have his level of thinking and understanding, diversification is actually your friend. For example, most financial advisors will state that 7% annually is a good return rate if you let his company pick and choose the stocks to invest in. However, the index fund for the S&P 500, for example, has averaged a little over 12% per year. In that scenario, you'd be better off diversifying and buying the index fund rather than trying to pick the winners. Guideline number 8. Take profits. You don't lose any money taking profits. When you decide to invest in a stock or a business, you must have a goal and you must stick to it. So if you decided you wanted a 20% return on your investment, once that is achieved, cash out and move on, even if that means reinvesting when the price comes back down. Reason for this is that it's very easy to get caught in the hype of something that's going to keep going up. I will have a video on the stock market, but for now, you just need to know that when the price is going up, it means there are plenty of buyers lined up and less sellers, which would make it a good time to sell, especially if you've already reached your goal. Humans often trade with emotions, which means if this is a stock, as soon as they see a little bit of a hiccup, the mass will sell, bringing the price back down, making it harder for you to sell since now there are more sellers than buyers. On the flip side, if you did sell during the climb up and got your profit out, you'd be able to rebuy on the dip and possibly profit again. Guideline number 9. Learn from your mistakes. Failure is not permanent. It will only make you better. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn. Take the time to understand why you made the mistake in the first place and then try to avoid it in the future. And don't be afraid of making mistakes either. They will teach you the best way possible as long as you remember the lesson and embrace it, since the lesson you learn may also apply elsewhere. Guideline number 10. Never invest in something you don't fully comprehend. Several years ago, a friend of mine came to me with an amazing opportunity. This was before cell phones were a big thing. He partnered with a home telephone company called ACN that was introducing video chat to that market. That idea seemed amazing. People already talked on the phone, and if it had video capability, people would love it, especially for the people that have families that don't live close by. Now, not knowing much about the product or the market, I decided to do some research on my own. Through my research, I found out that the home phone market itself has been trending downward due to cell phones being cheaper and cheaper year over year, and becoming more affordable as well. Based on that research and my gut instinct, I decided not to join that company. Now, my friend stayed and made decent money for about 14 months or so. While I missed out on that money, looking back at it now, I don't think I missed out at all. Ultimately, I made a better decision. Every investment has some risk to it. Some of them are bigger than others. Some of these can completely wipe your investment, which is why it's important to know at least the basics before jumping in. Finally, motivation isn't a constant thing. When you have it, you gotta use it. It will be gone soon. We tend to waste most of the day with things that don't progress us. And when we get the motivation late in the day, we tend to say, oh, it's almost nighttime. I'll start this tomorrow so I have the whole day to focus. But the cycle repeats. With that said, slight changes to your daily routine can net you huge rewards very quickly. So instead of wasting your mornings, if you must waste time, do that in the evening. In the morning, set aside 2 to 3 hours for yourself and your ideas. It could be anything, like the gym, learning something new, working on your side hustle, whatever it is that makes you better, and you will see results in your life. It may be small at first, but you will see an impact. And that is the basic concept of investing and winning mindset. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments section below. Subscribe to our channel for more informational videos on personal finance and money. Like and share the video if you liked it. Follow us on social media. Now for the free stocks. Webull is a free stock trading application that lets you buy and sell without any fees. Now currently, if you sign up using the links below, you will receive a free stock. Once you have received your free stock, please come back and let me know what you got. Robinhood is another free stock trading app that allows you to buy and sell without any fees as well. Now similar to Webull, if you sign up using the affiliate links below, you will receive another free stock. Once again, let me know what you get. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.